is Your Life. America's most talked about program is brought to you by America's most talked about cosmetics, Hazel Bishop long-lasting lipstick, Hazel Bishop long-lasting nail polish, and Hazel Bishop long-lasting complexion glow. And now, Mr. This Is Your Life himself, Ralph Edwards.
Seated here with me is a gentleman whose life was changed as the hands of the clock reached the hour of 8:15 one summer morning. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Would you tell us your name, please?
Kiyoshi Tanimoto.
Tanimoto.
Yes.
And your occupation, Mr. Tanimoto?
Minister, Christian minister.
Right.
Yes.
Reverend Tanimoto.
Yes.
When did you arrive in this country?
Well, let me see. I forgot.
I mean this time.
2 days ago.
2 days
Yes.
ago. Have you ever heard of our television program, This Is Your Life?
Well, this is my first time to have such many lights.
Well, we have one particular program here in America that we call This Is Your Life. Now, you thought, of course, you were going to be interviewed as a part of the work you're now doing, didn't you? What is that work, sir, that you are doing right now at the present moment?
Well, I brought a group of girls who have a terrible disfigurement on account of atomic explosion on Hiroshima.
And you have accompanied these girls
Yes,
over.
and we are hoping to have plastic surgery for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now, you are going to be interviewed, like we said. But we've been working, and you didn't know this, you see. We may have a little surprise.
Oh, is that right?
We've been working for weeks with your friends Norman Cousins, editor of the Saturday Review, and John Hersey, author of the best-selling novel Hiroshima, and Dr. Marvin Green, and many others, as well as members of our State Department, to bring you to our stage tonight.
Oh, that's a wonderful.
So that we could retell the story of your life. Now, the facts are between the covers of this book, Reverend Kiyoshi Tanimoto, This Is Your Life. This is our sponsor down here, Hazel Bishop. You see, I have to explain that because you'll wonder who this person is probably down here. Anyhow, through this archway will come many people, you see, through this here. It says, This Is Your Life. Many people who have helped shape your destiny, and we hope you'll have some pleasant moments. And we hope, too, ladies and gentlemen, that you will have a better understanding of what it is to look into the face of atomic power. Now, we'll pick up the threads of your life in a moment. Reverend Tanimoto, right now, just relax a moment. While Bob Warren, he's our announcer. You see, they have announcers, a wonderful man. People love him here in America. He has something very special to tell all the girls in our audience. Bob?
Yes, Ralph, and ladies, that something special is right here in this bottle of Hazel Bishop's fabulous new nail polish that stays on beautifully twice as long as any other without chipping. Now, here's a test that proves it. Now, I'm sure that all of you ladies know what this is. It's a metal scouring pad that cleans pots and pans. You know how those little sharp edges will cut away almost anything. Well, let's see what they do or don't do to this young lady's Hazel Bishop nail polish. Now, watch. She's going to rub that metal scouring pad over her nails hard, really hard, like that, and again, and again. Now, take a look. Her Hazel Bishop polish still looks wonderful. There's not a sign of a chip anywhere. Now, girls, it's obvious that when Hazel Bishop's new polish withstands a test like that, it'll stay on your nails beautifully days longer than any other. So treat yourself to a professional Hazel Bishop manicure at your beauty shop, or get an economical bottle of Hazel Bishop's new, longer-lasting nail polish wherever you buy your Hazel Bishop lipstick.
Thank you very much, Bob Warren. I've been briefing Reverend Tanimoto on the show here. He's a little surprised. Now, Reverend Tanimoto, are you ready to turn the pages in this book and share with us your experiences? All right, then. August 6, 1945, Hiroshima, Japan. This is your life, Kiyoshi Tanimoto. The morning is perfectly clear, and as the warm summer sun rises above the mountains which run around three sides of the city, it awakens a sprawling community of 245,000 people. The time is 6 a.m. Now, what were you doing at 6 a.m., Reverend Tanimoto?
Well, I wake up and I was trying to evacuate some belongings of my church into country.
I see.
Yes.
To another friend's house?
Yes.
Were you expecting a bomb attack?
Yes, we thought something special would be given to us. Up until that time, we had no bombing at all, even though other cities are already bombed.
Yes, so at 6 in the morning, you're lending a helping hand to a member of your parish when suddenly the piercing blast of the air raid siren goes off. Did you run for cover? Not when the siren blew, did you? You were used to that. Every morning it went off,
right,
didn't
yes.
it? As I understand, there were U.S. Army reconnaissance planes flying overhead most of the time. And so this was taken for granted, this air raid siren.
That's right, yes.
As might happen even today in any typical American community, the sound of an air raid siren, even at 6 in the morning, is not taken too seriously.
At 0600 on the morning of August the 6th, 1945, I was in a B-29 flying over the Pacific. Destination, Hiroshima.
A voice and a man whose life is destined to be woven up in the threads of your own, Reverend Tanimoto. Now, we'll meet him later on in our story. Right now, it's after 8. You pause to rest for a moment in the garden of Mr. Matsui's house. That was the friend who was helping you carry your belongings. Looking out, you can see Hiroshima lying ahead of you. You could be looking at Buffalo, New York, Boston, Massachusetts, St. Louis, Missouri, Seattle, Washington. But this is Hiroshima, Japan. The morning is quiet, very peaceful. The time has come, that split second of eternity which comes in one way or another to every man in his lifetime. What did you do when you heard that bomb?
Well, I didn't hear any sound, but I saw a strange flash running through midair, and took a couple of steps into the garden and lied on the ground. And I felt strong blast of wind. And then I woke up, got up, and saw many houses behind me destroyed.
You were between two rocks, more or less, weren't you? And as the terrible pressure from the concussion throbbed through your head and bits of board and tile from Mr. Matsui's house fell on you, your mind must have lived through a lifetime, back to days when the peaceful sound of temple bells called the faithful Buddhist to prayer. Back to June 27th, 1909, and your birth in Shikoku, not too far from Hiroshima. You're the youngest of 8 children. Your father proudly goes to the town hall and registers your birth and inheritance. And you go through grammar school and are a bright young scholar, faithful to the religious teachings of your father. But then something happens that is to change and help shape your whole life.
Kiyoshi decided that he wanted to enter theological school and become a Christian minister.
Well, now that voice belongs to somebody who was very dear to you in your youth. I want you to look at our archway here, Reverend Tanimoto, because coming through it is Miss Bertha Starkey of Warrensville, Ohio. Here's Miss Starkey. Miss Starkey, I know it's a wonderful meeting here. When did you first meet Mr. Tanimoto?
After he graduated from high school, he came to Korea to visit his older brother. I was a Methodist missionary in Seoul at that time. And when he decided that he wanted to enter theological school, he came to me for advice.
Yes. Did you have your family's permission to do this, Mr. Tanimoto?
My father was a strong Buddhist believer and opposed my Christian faith.
And your mother?
Mother didn't know what Christianity was, but permitted me to go to a Christian church.
It was her death that convinced you to become a minister.
Yeah, that's right.
Kiyoshi enrolled at a Methodist theological school in Japan, didn't he, Miss Starkey?
Yes, he did. And when he finally told his father what he had done, his father was so furious that he went to the town hall, struck Kiyoshi's name from the family register, thus publicly declaring him no longer a member of the family.
Now, Mr. Tanimoto calls you Mama Starkey, I believe. Isn't that right, Reverend Tanimoto?
Yes, he does. Disowned by his father and estranged from his family. And
Of course, his mother passed on,
with no
too.
mother. He asked me to be his parent. I was so proud and so glad to do so. And then later on, I was proud too to introduce him to the girl who was someday to become his wife.
Well, thank you, Miss Bertha Starkey. You see Mama later on.
Big supply.
Big surprise, yes. This is 1937 now. You graduate from theological school with the highest honors. Your father returns the graduation invitation with a note saying, "I do not know this person." And in Japan, the seeds of war are being scattered into Manchuria, into China. The military power is rising. But no thoughts of war are in your mind as you are appointed to the ministry. Did you get a parish right away, Reverend
Yes, I
Tanimoto?
got a church in Kagoshima area, southern part of Japan, and served there for 3 years.
Yes. But the bishop thought you should continue your education in America,
Well, that's
did he not?
right, yeah.
And with the help of Miss Starkey and others, you receive a scholarship to the Candler School of Theology, Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. And just before you leave, one of your sisters arranges a reconciliation with your father. So with a great weight lifted from your mind, you depart for America.
And in America, American slang was a problem to Kiyoshi, particularly the expression, "bats in your belfry."
Well, we'll have to hear more about this bats in the belfry. Do you recognize that voice, Reverend Tanimoto?
Yes, I do.
It
Yes.
belongs to one of your best friends whom you haven't seen in several years, a fellow student with you at Emory University and now pastor of the Springfield Methodist Church, Springfield, New Jersey, Dr. Marvin Green. And here is Dr. Green. What's this about bats in the belfry, Dr.
Well, at
Green?
Emory University, the boys used to tease him a great deal about the American slang phrases, and
Yes.
they told him that if he would tell girls that they had bats in their belfry, it was very pleasing to them and very, very exciting. And so one time, crossing a bridge, some girls were coming along, and Tanimoto went up to one of them at our encouragement and
Yes.
said, "Have you got bats in your belfry?" And it almost created an international incident.
So, I got a wonderful education.
What kind of an education? Was Reverend Tanimoto a good student, Dr.
Very
Green?
good. He gave himself very thoroughly, all of the hours he had there, to his theological studies, to preaching in the churches, to speaking in youth groups, and in every way he was preparing himself for the ministry.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Marvin Green. Your paths are destined to cross again, as we shall see later on. Thank you very much. 1940, you graduate from Emory University, an ordained Methodist minister, and are assigned to a church right here in Hollywood, not too far from where you're sitting right now. What church was it, Reverend Tanimoto?
Hollywood Independent Church.
Yes, a Japanese-American
Yes.
church. You preached there for 3.5 months and are loved by your congregation. Now, we told you, Reverend Tanimoto, we had some pleasant moments for you. Would you come with me, sir, just for a moment? I want you to look into the faces of these people right out here. Now, do you recognize any of them there? They're members of the Hollywood Independent congregation who came here tonight just to see you again. There they are. You'll have a chance to reminisce with them after the show at a party Hazel Bishop has arranged in your honor at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, where all our out-of-town guests have been staying. December 7th, 1941. Our world is at war. Now, where were you on that December 7th, Reverend Tanimoto? Yes, at Pearl Harbor time.
Oh, I was in Okinawa.
Yes.
Yes, I was preaching there.
Preaching in Okinawa.
As
And
a
you,
minister, yes.
sir?
As a minister of Methodist Church there.
And you remain on Okinawa for
Yes.
several years, and are then 2 years, and are then transferred to a church in Hiroshima,
right.
where we started your story on August 6, 1945. Now, because of the nature of our This Is Your Life program tonight, our wonderful sponsor, Hazel Bishop, has asked that we omit our commercial at this time, so we'll not interrupt our story, and we're very grateful to our wonderful sponsor for this thoughtful gesture. Now back to This Is Your Life, Reverend Kiyoshi Tanimoto, and Hiroshima, August 6, 1945. Time is standing still as our earth shakes to an explosion never before equaled. In a daze, you pull yourself from your position between the two garden rocks. From your vantage point, you again look out over the city. You started to tell us what you saw. What did you see?
Well, I saw the whole city on fire. And many people running away from the city in silence. Their skin peeling off, the hanging from face, from arm. But strange to say, in silence, it looked like a procession of ghosts.
Did you know that Hiroshima had been the first city to feel the force of atomic power?
Well, I didn't know what happened.
But as your mind clears, you think of your wife and baby, your church, your parishioners, all somewhere in the enveloping dust. You start to run toward the city saying, "My God, help them."
And looking down from thousands of feet over Hiroshima, all I could think of was, my God, what have we done?
The voice again of a man whose second of eternity was woven up with yours, Reverend Tanimoto. Now, you've never met him, have never seen him, but he's here tonight to clasp your hand in friendship. Captain Robert Lewis, United States Air Force, who along with Paul Tibbets piloted the plane from which the first atomic power was dropped over Hiroshima. Captain Lewis, come in here close, and would you tell us, sir, of your experience on August 6, 1945?
Well, Mr. Edwards, we left Tinian in the Mariana Islands at about 2:45 in the morning on August the 6th, 1945. Our destination was Japan. We had 3 targets. One was Hiroshima, one was Nagasaki, one was Kokura. About an hour before we hit the coastline of Japan, we were notified that Hiroshima was clear. Therefore, Hiroshima became our target. Just before 8:15 a.m. Tokyo time, Tom Farabee, a very able bombardier, carefully aimed at his target, which was the 2nd Imperial Japanese Army headquarters. 8:15 promptly, the bomb was dropped. We turned fast to get out of the way of the deadly radiation and bomb effects. First was a big flash that we got, and then the 2 concussion waves hit the ship. Shortly after, we turned back to see what had happened. And there in front of our eyes, the city of Hiroshima disappeared.
Now, you entered something in your log at that time.
As I said before, Mr. Edwards, I wrote down later, my God, what have we done?
And so, Reverend Tanimoto, you on the ground and you on your military mission, Captain Lewis, in the air, both appeal to a power greater than your own. Thank you, Captain Robert Lewis, now personnel manager of Henry Heide Incorporated in New York City. In that split second when one atom bomb was exploded, 100,000 people were either killed or destined to die. 100,000 more were hurt. Were you hurt, Reverend Tanimoto?
I was safe.
But as you run along the highway into the city in search of your wife and baby, you're stunned by the human destruction which you see. Now, you've told us pretty much about this, Reverend Tanimoto. You've told us about what you saw. Fires have sprung up everywhere. Your way into the city is blocked. You keep running, trying to get to your home, your church. You apologize to people along the way because you are unhurt.
主人と私があんなところで会えたことは幸いでした。
Yes, Reverend Tanimoto, it's true. From your home in Hiroshima, which you just left to surprise you, even as she did on August 6th, is your wife, Chisaka Tanimoto. Here she is. Sit there by your husband. Let her go in front of you. Mrs. Tanimoto, I think we really surprised your husband. Where were you when the bomb fell?
原子爆弾が落ちた時、私は高校で入って家の下敷きになりました。
What did your wife say, Reverend Tanimoto?
I forgot. I was buried under the debris.
Yes.
Holding my baby Coco in my arms.
Yes, no, completely dazed. You're able to extricate yourself, Mrs. Tanimoto, and you make your way through the streets until by a miracle you bump right into your husband. Now, Reverend Tanimoto, there follow days and nights of help and ministration to the wounded. You carry on, you comfort, you bring water to the thirsty, unable to move. You run for whatever medical help you can get. More often than not, unable to find it, you bring back rice cakes and biscuits instead. It's a week before news begins to leak out from official Japanese headquarters that the city had been destroyed by the energy released by the splitting of an atom. And then Nagasaki feels the terror of the second bomb. And on August 15th, the Emperor of Japan broadcasts to the nation that the war is over. And out of the carnage that was Hiroshima at 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945, the Japanese people have built a new city. But 10 years later, all is not forgotten. There's still very visible signs of that terrible day, which stands as living reminders of what atomic power can do. Dr. Green, you had something to say to us about this.
Tanimoto decided to do something about that, Mr. Edwards. Organize some help for these girls who had been students together and whose bodies had been badly disfigured and maimed, and he felt that to bring them to the United States was where they could get plastic surgery and help them alleviate some of their suffering.
Yes. Isn't it true, Dr. Green, that much medical research is being done by our own government as well as the Japanese government at Hiroshima?
Yes, that's quite true, but that research has taken the direction of diagnosis rather than of actual treatment to bring about recovery.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Green. So with the help of a committee composed of such people as Norman Cousins, John Hersey, Pearl Buck, Dr. Green here and others, the Hiroshima Peace Center Associates is formed. What is its purpose, Reverend Tanimoto?
To help social rehabilitation of Hiroshima.
I see. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Monday, May 9th, 25 girls from Hiroshima arrived in New York City via U.S. Army transport. They're being treated surgically at Mount Sinai Hospital at absolutely no cost. And tonight, we would like you to meet two of these girls. Both have lived through the terror of an atomic bombing. To avoid causing them any embarrassment, we'll not show you their faces. May I present Miss Takoya Minowa and Miss Todaka Emori.
私たちはアメリカに来ることができ本当に幸せです。そして皆様が私たちにしてくださることを感謝しています。
They said they're happy to be in America.
Yes.
Thank the United States for what they're doing now for them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have more to say about this important project in the next few moments. I know that you want to relax for just a moment. Mr. Tanimoto, one more joyful surprise for you. Your children, Coco, Ken, Jun, and Shin, and here they are. All the way from Hiroshima. Come on, Ken, Jun, and Shin. This is your life, Kiyoshi Tanimoto, a man of God who looked into the face of eternity in that awful moment when the world stood still, and who is now courageously building a monument to peace out of the ashes of Hiroshima. In a moment, Reverend Tanimoto, we'll look into your future, which you, ladies and gentlemen, can share. But first, here's Bob Warren.
You know, it's amazing how many of you write in to tell us you don't talk enough about Hazel Bishop nail polish. Well, tonight, I want you to meet one of our enthusiastic Hazel Bishop users, Mrs. Arthur Johnson of St. Louis, Missouri. Hi, Mrs. Johnson.
Hello, Mr. Warren.
Mrs. Johnson, would you mind telling us your experience with Hazel Bishop nail polish in your own words?
Well, it's just like I told you in my letter. My nails take a terrific beating. My hands are always in hot, soapy water. And I do a lot of typing, too. Well, I'd just about given up wearing all polishes because I'd put them on one day and they would start to chip the next. Then a friend told me about Hazel Bishop. I just can't stop raving about it. Look, my Hazel Bishop polish has been on for almost 7 days, and there's not a chip anywhere. I just love it.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Johnston. Now, ladies, tonight or tomorrow, you treat yourself to Hazel Bishop long-lasting nail polish.
Right, thank you very much. Reverend Tanimoto, this is
Coco,
Coco,
Shin,
Shin,
Ken,
Ken,
Jun.
Jun. Look so the American children can see our wonderful visitors from Hiroshima. Hazel Bishop is presenting you with a 16mm film of this program and a 16mm Bell & Howell sound projector so that you can play it on back in Japan. And also this 16mm Bell & Howell movie camera, you see. And for Mrs. Tanimoto, Hazel Bishop has asked Marshall Jewelers in New York to design this 14-karat gold charm bracelet that we have for you. Jewels of happy moments in your life there, too. Reverend Tanimoto, we know how we have cufflinks for you here, too, sir. We know how hard you've worked to make it possible for these 25 girls to come to the United States for medical aid. And we know, too, that there are many, many more people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki who were children back in 1945 and who are reaching maturity now and who will never know a normal, happy life without immediate medical and surgical help. Now, we're sure that there are many among our viewers tonight who will want to share in Reverend Tanimoto's dedicated life. Now, you can do so by sending your contributions right now, large or small, to Maidens, Box 200, New York 1, New York. Now, you'll be making it possible for teams of American and Japanese doctors to work together on the spot to provide necessary treatment.
And Mr. Edwards, on behalf of the entire crew that participated in that mission, my company and my lovely family, I'd like to make the first contribution.
Thank you, Captain Lewis, very much.
Thank you.
And on behalf of our... Here, you better hold the money for a while. On behalf of our wonderful sponsors, Hazel Bishop and Prell Shampoo, gee, I better say shampoo right, you know. They're the sponsors, Prell Shampoo. May I present you with these two checks for $500 each from Hazel Bishop and from Prell Shampoo. Twice I must have. Thank you, Captain Lewis, very much. I know that our audience will be just as generous as you are, for this is the American way. The address again, Maidens, Box 200, New York 1, New York. And we'll give you all a report next week. This is your life, Kiyoshi Tanimoto. May God grant you and your family and all of us a world in which we and our children can live in eternal peace.
Friends, I know that you're greatly moved by hearing about the efforts being made for these young women, and I'm sure that many of you will be eager to help them regain the beauty that might have been lost.
I'm sure they will, Bob. And if you'll accept a change of mood now, I'd like to tell you a bit about wonderful, extra-rich Liquid Prell Shampoo. That's the thrilling new companion to Prell in the Tube.
Of course, you know, Pat, that new Liquid Prell is the only liquid shampoo that's extra rich, with radiant beauty in every drop. Liquid Prell's wonderful new extra-rich formula makes a richer, more effective lather.
Well, I guess that's why it leaves my hair looking so radiantly alive, really shining, more than I ever dreamed it could.
May I say, your hair is just about the loveliest it's possible to be. It's radiant and really shines, and yet every wave is in place. There are no wisps and no scolding locks.
I notice your hair always looks so well groomed.
Oh, that's Prell again. Pat, right here. It's great in the handy tube.
Well, we both love Prell.
Why don't you get Procter & Gamble's new extra-rich Liquid Prell, friends? It's the radiant shampoo for that radiantly alive look.
Right you are. Don't forget to send in your contributions, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing you again next week, when This Is Your Life brings you the story that deals with the subject uppermost in most of our minds today. I know you won't want to miss it. See you then. Good night. Good night, Coco. Wait.
Our guests all fly into Hollywood by TWA, Trans World Airlines, who now fly the newest and most luxurious airplane in the skies. Fly the finest. Fly TWA Super G Constellation. This Is Your Life is a Ralph Edwards production, produced and directed by Axel Grunberg. This Is Your Life has been brought to you by Hazel Bishop, long-lasting lipstick, nail polish, and complexion glow. Next week, This Is Your Life will be brought to you by Prell Shampoo.